For 8 drivers, the pressure is building.
We don't know what to do. Just do our jobs from here.
And time is running out.
Stay in the fight all day.
The second race of the round of 8.
Welcome to Around the Track, presented by Moultrie Mobile. He's Ryan Flores. I'm Kim Coon. We have wrapped up the racing weekend in Las Vegas. Now we head to Homestead-Miami Speedway. And as we do, there is one driver in each of NASCAR's top 3 series who has already locked themselves into the championship. For Grant Enfinger with his win a couple of weeks ago at Talladega. AJ Allmendinger surprising people with a win this past weekend. And then, of course, Logano. Dangerous when you let him into the championship. Round of 8.
Tried to tell you last week, this was, they find a way. Him and Paul Wolfe, they found a way again. And when you look at those 3 drivers, they were all beneath the cutoff line, good and well before they got into this first race of the round of 8. So it's going to mix up some things at the top. There was also some big wrecks this weekend that mixed up some stuff in the playoff standings. So as we look at the playoff standings, we see Chase Elliott and our team, Ryan Blaney, well below the cutoff line. Tyler Reddick went for a big flip this weekend, and Denny Hamlin all below the cutoff line. But it's really tight right now, even though they're 27 behind. William Byron's plus 27. Anything can happen with stages, and these next 2 races are grueling.
Yeah, and you mentioned the big crashes. Also some pit road mishaps. Hamlin below the line. His team had a very bad pit stop. They had to come back and tighten up a loose lug. And then Kyle Larson, I have no idea what his crew was doing during that, we'll call it bad news bears, as Steve Letarte said, stop during the race. But both of those things playing into kind of the shuffle we're seeing on the board, point standings wise. And now we're headed to another racetrack where there is nowhere to hide. There's going to be a lot of pit stops. Miami, you also have to run the high line.
Pit stops are really hard to do. I will say it as a pit crew member myself. There has never been a time when Cup pit crewing is as hard or as tense when you're in the round of 8. These 3 races in this round are very hard. This weekend's going to be no exception. We were pitted next to the 24 last week. Those guys crushed it all day. And he's going to be in studio next with you to tell you all about Homestead. But before we get to him, let's hear from some other drivers before we head down to Miami.
Homestead's one track that I think every driver loves because you can go to really any spot on the track you want to. The very bottom or the very, very top.
I think Homestead's a great track as a driver's track. You have to run right against the wall, which is fun, and it's different. You don't really do that in most places.
It's a fun racetrack because you can move around, and typically if you're faster than the guys in front of you, you can make passes. Restarts are really crazy there because you have such a wide racetrack. Tire strategy is always wild too.
Tire fall off is huge, so you have to just be very, very disciplined there and very consistent there, I would say.
I would describe it as more of a specialized racetrack. That surface is just so different than anywhere else we go to.
Well, we're now joined in studio by playoff driver William Byron. So we're going to preview Homestead-Miami Speedway with him. This is a place where you have to be running the high line. But we see that at other tracks too. What makes running the fence different at Homestead-Miami Speedway?
Yeah, honestly, it's a totally different rhythm at Homestead. I feel like other places that we run the wall, it's really like at the end of the run or like when the pace really drops off. And Homestead, you run the fence from lap 1 sometimes. So it just is a very unique place. I feel like it really fits the racetrack to run the wall. Like it's honestly the preferred groove, and you just don't go anywhere else that it's like that. Even Darlington, you don't even really pack the air against the wall like you do at Homestead.
Are there other places at Homestead to find speed? Or do you have to just know you're going to commit to the high line? Yeah,
there's a lot of places. Like I feel like typically the end of the races is won from off of the wall. So typically, last year when Christopher won, he was able to run the third seam and able to run the bottom really well too. So it's a place that you can definitely move around, and typically the groove changes as the race goes.
Pit road is very challenging here. It's kind of a sharp left onto pit road, and then for some reason the exit finds people, by surprise. Yeah. What do you have to keep in mind when you're making pit stops?
Yeah, I think I don't know why that is. I think because the access road on the exit is definitely a different thing than we're used to. But on entry, the track is so slick once you have laps on the tires that when you get to pit road, a lot of times it's hard to judge that grip, and that's what we saw last year. So it just is it's a tricky place, and especially as hard as you're working on track, when it's time to pit, you kind of have to like get your mind right and adjust. So that's probably the hardest part, is just getting your mindset back into, okay, now I have to make a green flag stop. And under caution, it's also tricky because it's pretty narrow. So I feel like it's just a tough place.
All right, it seems like every single playoff race, there's something chaotic that happens to a playoff driver, more so than during the regular season, just some of the wild stuff we see. Do you feel like it's the intensity and the pressure that kind of feeds into that, and that's why we see these crazy races? Yeah,
I think so. I mean, definitely this weekend was wild. Just that the way that restart, even before the crash, like people were just going crazy. Like I was top of 4 wide, and just a lot of crazy moves. But I do feel like it's the playoffs, and also you got to think about the guys who aren't in the playoffs. They don't care as much, and so they're willing to take more risks. So to match that as a playoff guy, you have to take more risk. And I feel like that's changed over the last couple of years for sure. There used to be a lot more respect. You know, here's the playoff guys, and we're going to kind of race them differently. Now it just seems like everyone doesn't care as much, and they just race hard.
Some really great insight. Thank you so much. Good luck this weekend. William Byron is a former winner at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Another former winner there is Ty Majeski. He's hoping to get a win this weekend to lock himself into the Craftsman Truck Series Championship 4.
I got into racing when I was 9 years old. All my friends were going out for tackle football, and my parents didn't want me getting hurt. My dad's like, what if I went out and bought you a go-kart instead? The rest is history. Just kept moving up the ranks, and eventually into NASCAR. My role model would be Alan Kawicki. I won his driver development program in 2015, and that really catapulted my career. And just obviously owning and driving it for his own team and winning a championship doing that is just such a cool story in the way he did it, and just his mindset was a very non-traditional way to succeed in the sport, and I really admire that. In my racing career, I'm really happy where I'm at now. I really am, being able to race each weekend full-time in the NASCAR Truck Series, and knowing every time I go to the racetrack I have a chance to win. That's a big deal for me. You just never know when it's going to be your last win, so just try and cherish the moment.
Taking a look at Ty Majeski's 2024 season so far, 2 wins, but I really like to look at his stats for this weekend. You think about his 3 starts at Homestead-Miami Speedway, never finished outside the top 10 there, and he also got a win in 2022. Why is he so good when you come to this track?
When I look at Ty Majeski and Homestead, I just can't help but think of his super late model experience. I've watched this guy win the Snowball Derby at 5 Flags. Those cars are super fast, and you have to save tires, and you know that is exactly what Homestead is. This falls right into his wheelhouse, and at +5, currently above the cutoff line, he's got to be happy to go into one of his best tracks.
Yeah, one of his best tracks, but he's not the only one looking for a spot in the Championship 4. Let's take a look at the Truck Series standings as we head to Homestead-Miami Speedway. There's some guys that need to get some stuff done this weekend.
Absolutely. The one that sticks out to me is Nick Sanchez. They have been great all year long. This is his home track, so he needs to rebound and gain some points. You know, stage points, like we say, they're going to be key at -20. That's only 2 stages from putting himself into this, but like we said, Ty Majeski there +5. He's going to be hard to beat this weekend as well.
Yeah, a lot of focus on the playoff drivers, but there's going to be some names you got to pay attention to in the Truck Series field that aren't in the playoffs. It's the Battle of the Connors. We've got in the Truck Series this weekend Connor Mozak, Connor Zilich, and Connor Daly.
Yes, all 3 of them.
Lots of Connors.
All 3 of them, you know, and Connor Mozak, Connor Zilich, oh my God, and William Swalich. I get them all mixed up all the time. We've seen them battle out in ARCA, so it's going to be great to see all 3 of them in the field this weekend. Corey Day also back in the field. You know, when we talk about somebody that's following in the path of Kyle Larson's so good at Homestead. We'll see what Corey Day is able to do at Homestead, being a sprint car guy himself.
Yeah, you mentioned Swalich. He's in the 1 truck, but he's playing double duty this weekend. We're seeing him make his Xfinity Series debut this weekend for JGR in the number 19 car. That comes on the heels of his announcement this week that he's going to be running full-time for JGR next season in the 18 car. So with that, let's dive into the Xfinity Series standings as we head to Homestead-Miami Speedway. Obviously, we talked about it earlier. AJ Allmendinger already locking himself into the Championship 4, and it's going to be a battle as you look at these standings, because I think about Cole Custer +16. That is nothing. He is very good at Homestead, but then you look at Sam Mayer. He won there last year -23.
Yeah, Sam Mayer definitely looking to play upset like he did at the Roval, and Sammy Smith as well. You know, he got a win at Talladega, and he had a dismal week in Vegas. The team that I'm looking at, I'm a pit crew guy, right? So the team that I'm looking at is this RCR 21. They've got the best pit crew on pit road, the 2 car as well. They're the 2 cars, actually the 3 car guys, Paul Swan and the boys from Sunday. They do the 2 on Saturday, and those are 2 of the best pit crews on Xfinity pit road. We've seen RCR win a race off pit road here to win the race with Myatt Snyder. So Man, if there's ever a place where a pit crew can propel you to the next round, Homestead is the track.
Why?
It's such a challenging race. The pit wall is really tall, and it's just going to be a battle. You're going to take tires every chance you can. You're going to use your full allotment, and you have to keep your guy in it. And when you win the race off pit road, it gets challenging to pass. Say that there's a caution with 10 to go. So this is a place where we could see a lot of stuff play out down in the pit boxes.
All right, you mentioned a battle. It's also a battle on the mod side of things. It's their finale at Martinsville, and all season long, you've been talking about Justin Bonsignore versus Ron Silk. They are in the championship battle. What are you looking for this weekend?
Man, it's been Ron Silk that's been leading everything, but the past 2 weekends, Bonsignore has won both races. He won at Thompson, and then he goes to Wilkesboro, and he wins both races there this weekend, not only the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour race, but he won the Smart Tour race on Saturday as well. He just dominated. They built a new race car, and they've been so fast. But that went from him being down 11 to plus 10 in the standings. But when we look at another guy that's back there,
who's that?
we've seen Justin Bonsignore and Ron Silk just run into each other all year. Martinsville is a place where you can really tear some stuff up. So if they get tore up, you got Patrick Emmerling waiting in the wings.
Yes.
Something's going to have to happen to both of them, but he's there nipping at their heels too if they do mess up. So it's not just those two battling for it. But if I had to bet, as good as Bonsignore's been running, my money's on him this weekend.
All right, speaking of where to put your money, next up we've got Erica. She's going to tell you best bets for this weekend as the Cup Series heads to Homestead-Miami Speedway.
Hey race fans, Corey LaJoy here. Join Ryan Flores and myself for Stacking Pennies each week. I'll break down my race and explain what happened right out of my windshield.
Plus, we award the Dogs of the Week for the best pit crews and go in-depth on all the money stops, pit road mistakes, and penalties.
And we've got a ton of guests. We have SVG stopping by. We had Ricky Stenhouse after he punched Kyle Busch in the face. We've had Bubba. We've had all sorts of guys in here in the Nonsense Garage, so you do not want to miss it. Check us out on Sirius XM Channel 90, YouTube, or wherever you find your podcast. Each and every week, Stacking Pennies. That's what's up.
So who is your best value pick for your fantasy league?
It's my guy.
Yeah, we took a gamble this weekend.
Luck or the lack thereof. It's a big factor here today.
Listen to me out there, gamblers.
Baby.
What's up, racing fans? It's your NASCAR betting analyst, Erica, and you're watching Around the Track, Easy Money with E. I'm going to do a little something different this week for the round of 8 at Miami. I'm going to give you 6 quick picks for this weekend's NASCAR Cup Series race. Let's dive into it. Number 1, margin of victory between 1.001 second and 2 seconds at plus 400. I'm going there because the last 2 races, the margin of victory fell between that time frame. And also, it's so much fun to sweat a bet out until the very end, especially when it's plus 400. Because if we're not sweating it out to the end, are we really even having fun? Number 2, we're going to do a head-to-head between Byron and Larson. Byron is plus 115. Larson is super juiced at minus 160. Well, from a racing perspective, when 2 drivers are essentially a coin toss, like these 2 drivers are, then it's usually the smartest thing to do to lean into the plus money. Plus 115, Byron, let's back him there. Number 3, I'm going to go with the car to be the winning number, a number between 20 and 29. Could it be Bell? Could it be Byron? Could it be Logano 2 weeks in a row? We shall see. Number 4, top 10 finishers, Reddick and Blaney, to both finish in the top 10 at minus 130. Now, from a betting perspective, you'll see when you shop around at different books, the usual suspects, the guys who typically run up front, have very juiced odds. Well, we get Blaney and we get Reddick in the spot at minus 130. That's not too expensive of a price to pay for 2 drivers who, cross our fingers, should finish in the top 10 this week. Then we're going to go back to Blaney for our top 5 pick, which is at plus 120. Blaney really is so far below the cutoff line that he needs to race like his playoff life depends on it, because it does. Then finally, my 6th pick is C-Bell plus 600 to be an outright winner. I've talked all year about how I love that team, how I love C-Bell. And we all know that C-Bell, when it comes to tire management, is the king of kings. Finally, my lock of the week, going to go back to the margin of victory, 1.001 second to 2 seconds. Now, if you want some more bonus bets, keep following me at my social at Erica Renee D. And I'm going to have some fun picks for you guys as we get closer to race weekend.
2 races remain before the championship field is set, and the next stop is Miami, where living on the edge is the only way to advance. Don't be on the outside, be on the inside. It's NASCAR Inside the Playoffs on True TV and Max.
For a playoff driver, the potential to race for a championship with a win today.
Will someone punch their ticket?
Ready, green flag.
Larson's got a problem. Blaney is there for the lead on 4. Pit now. Oh!
Did not expect him to slow down that much.
William is struggling. Got to jump here. He's got an opportunity.
Christopher Bell is going to lock himself into the championship 4. He's won in Miami.
I've got the best team behind me. This is better than a dream come true.
That's why you never give up. Great job, man.
So, like you just saw, Christopher Bell taking home the hardware at Homestead last year. He is hungry this year after that close call at Las Vegas, finishing second. So that leads us to our fantasy for this week. Who is your must-have? Now, it's not necessarily a driver that's going to win the race, but somebody who might win or score you a lot of points.
Well, everybody would say it's Kyle Larson, but I don't want to give you guys any layups here. I'm going to go with William Byron. He is 4th in points. He finished 4th at Las Vegas, so they have to have a great day. And he's won this race before. He's finished top 10 in 3 of his last 4 Miami starts, and I just think that these guys are great, and they're going to get their 14th win on the board.
Who does mine say?
Oh, goodness. I can't read
He can't read. Must have William Byron. So it's 2 votes for William Byron. Kind of to your point, he's finished 4th in the last 4 races, on a hot streak right now. Not only has he won on the Cup side of things, he's also won in the Truck Series. We had him in studio. He gave me so much good information. He convinced me that he's going to have a great day when it comes to Homestead.
Yeah, I think William Byron is a good guy to bet on this weekend. His team's firing all cylinders. Rudy Frugal and the boys are doing great. My black flag, though, on the other side, same team, different car, is Alex Bowman. These guys have been hot throughout the whole playoffs, but obviously they had a miscalculation at Charlotte, knocks them out of the playoffs. He's been good, but I don't love his Homestead stats. He's finished in the top 10 twice. Both times it's been 9th, and it's been in the last 4 races, but it's been wishy-washy, and he also had to miss a race here. But when I look at Homestead and Alex Bowman, that's who I'm not putting in my lineup this weekend.
Okay, my black flag might surprise some people. That's because it's Tyler Reddick. I know we go to Homestead, and you have to run the high line. We know he is able to do that, but he does not have the playoffs run that I thought he would after being the regular season champ. During the regular season, his average finish was 11.2. As we jump into the playoffs, his average finish now in the playoff races, 20.57. And then you look at last weekend, you know, he got greedy. Vegas is also a place where you're on the edge of out of control, got greedy, made a mistake, and ended up on his lid. You think about Homestead, you also can get greedy there. I think he makes a mistake, and that's a reason to keep him out of your lineup.
I think it's a great point. You know, I think him and Kyle Larson both get greedy when they go to Homestead because they're both so good there. We saw his miraculous drive at the Roval to get himself back into the playoffs, but we'll see if he's able to handle the pressure and if he can prove you wrong this weekend.
Okay. All right. With that, if you're headed to Homestead-Miami Speedway, there's a lot going on for the race fans. What are you looking forward to? Man,
I see there's a lot of, I'm just looking forward to getting there, and it's one of our greatest races of the weekend, the South, you know, the South Beach weather, everything down there, but there's a lot of driver appearances for the fans. You'll be able to see Chris Bell, Richard Petty, Dale Inman, there's a whole list of everything going on. What about you?
Well, if there are any Barstool fans out there, apparently the rumor is Dave Portnoy is going to be there, but it's not just Dave. He's bringing Mrs. Peaches. If you're a fan of Dave, you have followed kind of this journey, him rescuing Mrs. Peaches. Well, they added another dog to the family recently, Brother Pete, who is a beagle. So the rumor is, again, that both dogs are going to be there down with Dave Portnoy. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Something to look forward to for all you dog lovers out there. You can go to Homestead-Miami-Speedway.com to see a full list of what they have to offer at the track this weekend.
And with that, it is now time for the white flag, which Ryan was responsible for this weekend, so let me have it.
So Florida is known for the Everglades, and the Everglades means gators.
It does. I've actually been to the Everglades to a gator farm.
So the question that has been passed along to me, Kim, how many alligators have you kissed in Florida?
Oh, only one.
Just one?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I believe we have a video
Look
right here.
at that! I told you I'd been down there. This is so fun. Oh, dang. Did I kiss the one I was like? They put me on the back of one, and I don't think I kissed that one, so I do think it's only one.
You got on a gator?
You might see it. I don't know if we got it on video. Oh, yep, there you go.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Well, you are a Florida girl, for sure. Florida girl. More of a University of Miami.
University of Miami. I am not a Gator fan, meaning the Florida Gators. I am a Hurricane tried and true.
My pit coach would be upset. He is a Florida Gator, but I'm excited nonetheless to get down to Miami and compete this weekend.
Yeah, we can't wait to see you guys down at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Don't forget to join us right back here next week to preview.
Yeah, Martinsville. We'll see who gets the clock, so join us right here at Around the Track. Hear all about it.